Hi, I'd like to talk about my first surgery. My first surgery is when I was 10 days old, called Hiatal Hernia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Basically, one night, my mom woke up and looked over and I was covered in blood. She rushed over to me, picked me up, and I projected blood all over her. I was then rushed to the hospital and thrown into emergency surgery. Unfortunately though, the doctor that was supposed to be on staff just to handle that surgery was not there, and luckily a doctor just visiting for the night was there, and his anesthesiologist on his team actually ended up saving my life multiple times on other surgeries, so I'm very happy it worked out how it did. As for the surgery, we got in there and found out that my stomach, intestines, and bowels had flipped up into my chest. Obviously being a tiny baby, I wasn't really looking too good for me. During the surgery, they flipped everything back into my lower half and held it down with a feeding tube. The feeding tube was in my stomach for 3 months. Although during the 3 months, my feeding tube kept leaking my stomach acid and burning holes in my skin. I'm not a fan of them, but I do still have the scar, and I call it my second belly button because technically it was. So obviously it's hard to know how I handled it being 10 days old, but all the pictures I have, I'm really happy and playing with equipment. I look back really fondly of it because I think it's very cool to say that I went through it. I definitely feel bad for my family who had to see me go through it and experience it, but that's how I am with most of my surgeries. I try to make jokes and be on the positive side because it's easier and better than crying about it. So, but that's just how I process it. Everyone's different. So yeah, that's the start of all of this. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you, lovelies.